Vultures 1 is surprisingly good, is what I would say if I was being held at gunpoint by a Kanye stan. Is what I would say if I severely lowered my standards for what good Kanye music should be, because once upon a time, it existed. Is what I would say if it was opposite day. Okay, that last one wasn't great, but I'd say I went 2 for 3 with those jokes, which is a better hit to miss ratio than this album. I'm not even entirely sure where to start with this because this album feels so messy and directionless. I could start by listing off the positives, the stuff that I do enjoy, but that's a little bit hard to do here because there are moments and parts of songs that are great on here, but almost every single track that has one thing that I really like also has at least one major thing I really dislike as well. It's the definition of a mixed bag. The only flat out good songs on here for me are Do It and Burn. And Burn still pisses me off a little bit because it shows that even in 2024, Kanye can deliver a verse that sounds good and energetic if he wants to. He just chooses not to do it for most of Vultures 1. I love the up-tempo, sparkling sound of the instrumental. Ty absolutely glides on it, and the way that Kanye rapped on here reminded me of his college dropout era almost.
Who's not entertained by my pain? Who ain't cash a check off my name? When my campaign turned to campaign.
It is far and away the best song on here. And another thing that really annoys me about that, one of the accounts I follow on hip hop Twitter, King Wow, pointed out that, yeah, Burn is one of those tracks that you would expect to just be the standard for a Kanye album. Go back to any other Kanye album and you can click on a song and just expect it to sound that passionate. Expect him to sound that focused, like he's rapping with conviction. But on this album, it stands out as one of the only highlights. And Do It has this fun club energy to it with a solid feature from YG. One of the only tracks that I'd truly say is fun on here. But then there's the mixed bag that is almost the entire rest of this album. Paid, for example, is a track that should be one of my favorites on here. The beat is really nice, Ty knocks it out of the park, but Kanye really ruins it with his awful vocals. On Talking, the Once Again section is actually pretty moving, with a touching verse from Ty Dolla and a powerful beat that just washes over you. But it has a first half that I guess is kinda cute and sentimental to Kanye with Northwest rapping on it, and it does tie into the concept of what Ty Dolla talks about on his verse. But I'm gonna skip past that first half every single time. Back to Me should be incredible, with the amazing the Freddie Gibbs feature and Ty firing out another great hook, but once again, Kanye holds it back. The beautiful big titty but naked women line was maybe funny the first 2 times that he said it, but then it just kept going. And going. And going. Like he's just reaching through your speakers and slapping you on the forehead going, is it funny? Is it still funny? Is it still fucking funny? It's not even his joke. It's just him constantly repeating a line from a comedy movie in musical form. Fuck Some is very okay for the most part, but once again is ruined by Kanye with his weird, disruptive Alvin and the Chipmunks ass performance. Are you noticing who the big weak link is on the album yet? The title track has a beautiful build in the instrumental for the outro, but the verses on it range from bad to okay to just flat out trying to be edgy in the most embarrassing way. And that's another thing I want to bring up real quick. I reacted to this album on a live stream, and I did see a couple comments in the live chat saying, oh, well, why are you bringing up Kanye's out-of-pocket lyrics as a bad thing? He has always had out-of-pocket lyrics, and he has. But the difference on this album is that they're delivered with no passion and conviction, so they just don't hit. They're just embarrassing. Listen to an album like Jesus. Listen to an album like The Life of Pablo. The out-of-pocket lyrics there are fucking hilarious because of the way that he delivers them with his charisma. There is no charisma from Kanye on this album. Carnival is one that I just don't really get the hype for. No one really stands out on it with their rapping, and the Playboi Carti verse is just buried under the volume of the beat. Also, Rich the Kid is in it, doing the exact same flow in 2024 that he was doing 7 years ago, and is somehow getting praised for that. But I guess the anthemic sound to the beat at the start of it is kinda cool. Beg Forgiveness managed to make a Chris Brown feature sound different for once with the pitch shifting, which was nice, but my god does it drag on. This is what I mean, there's a small number of tracks on this album that I can talk positively about without mentioning significant parts of them that hold them back. And when it comes to the flat out bad songs that I just can't get into no matter what, Hood Rat is one of the most annoying songs I've heard in 2024 so far with that sample. Paperwork is like this weird mix of 808s and Heartbreak and Yeezus that doesn't really work. And King is possibly the most limp, floppy, flaccid track you could have chosen for the outro. Talk about ending on a stinker. Already, I've seen the argument of, oh, Kanye is just having fun on this album, but I'm gonna be honest, that's not even how it comes across to me. Personally, I think he sounds directionless and uninspired. There's quite a few issues with the mixing. Oh, the mixing! Even though I mostly like Ty on it, there are a few tracks where his autotune just sounds a little bit off compared to the beat, and just generally, it sounds more like the prototype for an album that needs several revisions and new drafts before it's ready for release. And you may have noticed by this point in the review, I've barely even mentioned any of Kanye's bars relating to his recent anti-Semitic controversies, and there's a very purposeful reason for that. It's to hopefully show anyone who might have any doubts that I truly think the music on here is bad. I'm not just writing it off because it's a Kanye album after those controversies, I just 100% truthfully don't think that it sounds very good. I understand, music is subjective, my entire channel is based off of the subjectivity of music, but I subjectively can't grasp how this could be compared to almost any other Kanye album in a positive light. You'd know it's rough when the best thing that I can say for this album amongst Kanye's discography is that it's better than the unfinished trash heap that was Donda 2, and is probably better than the very sterile and bland Jesus is King. But literally every other Kanye album and Kanye collaboration album, because this is one of those, I couldn't fathom ranking Vultures one above. I guess I'll give Ty Dolla some credit for doing a pretty hefty carry job on this album. Despite missing on some tracks, he's probably the most consistent part of all of this. There are some absolutely great beats on here too, but that can only go so far when a lot of the performances over them or the overall direction of the songs is just lacking. Again, even that, some of the instrumentals and the way they're worked with feels a bit directionless, which I feel like is the best word to sum up this album. So that is why for my official score for this album, I've landed on a 4.7 out of 10. Yeah, I know, weird rating. Why is it not just a 4.5? Why is it not just a 5? Because I think it's in between those, and I rate albums on albumoftheyear.org, which uses an out of 100 rating system, and I just like having a lot of variation to work with between my ratings. I like numbers, okay? But yeah, 4.7 out of 10. It's easily one of Kanye's worst albums, especially considering that he is the weakest part of it. I'm kind of dreading the fact that we apparently have 2 more volumes of this coming. Allegedly. You never know with Kanye. With that being said, thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this review, and you can click here if you're just itching for some more CDTV content. This is a video I handpicked for you right here. You're gonna love it. Click it. And with that being said, much love to my channel members and Patreon supporters over there, with a special shout out to I Am Regent, Lucas1123, KWG13270, and Not Vimpet.